live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Hey, hey, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, 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 we going. Yeah, 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 we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
All right, y'all. On to the real.
Yeah.
What we got today? Bret Bartles.
Bret Bartles.
I still didn't get to listen to that podcast.
You didn't listen to the? Oh my God!
I didn't.
So once I listened to him on this podcast, I said, "Oh, we got to spotlight this dude because I love him. I love him."
So what did he say?
Well, he's a former Duke baseball player who ended up being drafted 30th round. Yeah, 30th round, which he thought he would go in like the top 10, and he didn't.
Oh, wow.
Ended up in D-League, didn't get to really play. He went to AAA ball, basically. And he said he had 6 roommates.
Oh, wow. 6 roommates?
That's how 6 roommates in an apartment. 2-bedroom apartment. I said, good Lord, Jesus. But I like the way he talks because he talked about, even from high school, his mentality. He said he didn't know if he would get to play. He wanted to, but he didn't know if he would get to play baseball on the next level. And so he was already prepared himself for what was next in his life. So he went to Duke. He said, obviously getting a quality education from Duke was huge. But then he said, and so once he went to the league, and that didn't work out because I think he got hurt or something. And anyway, he ended up not being in the league. So this is when I fell in love with him. He said, so I had already prepared myself, and I decided to go and work for Teach for America because he said he's from Charlotte. He's from this area. And he said that his parents were teachers, or his mom, I think both his parents were teachers. And they moved in his junior year of high school to a not so good part of Charlotte. And
wow.
And that position, when he was there, he said that's when he was truly able to see the inequality of education that happens based on demographics and socioeconomic status. And he said, and that changed him. And he said, so as soon as he he was done with baseball, he wanted to go make a difference. And so he went to Teach for America and worked for them for, I can't remember how many years. And he said it was the most amazing experience he's had because he was able to really, he said because of what he understood already of the situation, he was able to connect and relate to those students in a way that other people might not have been able to, particularly when you come from, because a lot of Teach for America candidates are people who come from corporate America or some other profession other than teaching, obviously, but you bring something else to the table, and so that's why they give you the opportunity. But he was just saying that because of his experience, it was so different for him. And so he went on to for Teach for America. I think he did that for, I can't remember how long. He was at West Charlotte High School, which is, y'all don't know nothing about Charlotte.
Oh, I heard about West Charlotte.
Okay. Yeah. And so he did that for 2 years. And then he went on to work, some jobs, but he ended up in this really prestigious business program.
Dart School of Business.
Dart, yep. And so
UVA.
He said while he was there, he and a couple of other people got opportunities to intern with, I think it's Danaher Corporation, which he said there was a gentleman who came into one of his classes and said, if you get on with Danaher, when you're done with your internship, you got a job waiting on you. That's the reputation this company had.
Wow.
And so he was one of 3 who got the internship, and that has now led him to, like, he's the vice president of Invista Growth Enablement, which is Invista Holdings Corp. So he's been doing that for like 6 months now. But Invista is a global family of 3 companies, 30 dental brands united, a shared purpose to partner with professionals to improve lives. So he's still, his thing is still about helping people. But I just love that he was really focused from the beginning about who he was going to be. That's what On to the Real is about.
Right.
Like, I want to see, and you know me, I see color, but I don't see color. But this is the mentality that I want to see more Black and brown children have.
Right.
Yeah.
Because this is how you transition. You know what I mean? And he talked about it. He was honest. He was like, it was difficult. I was like, what am I going to do now? But he knew baseball wasn't going to just be his be all end all. So he had kind of already prepared himself a bit. So
I like that he jumped around and had different experiences too.
Yeah.
Because one of my, like, anytime someone can go to Teach for America and it be more than just getting their student loans paid back. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, because they drop these people into Title I
urban schools. Yep.
You know, and they end up staying for the 5 years until they get all of the perks of being in the program and leaving.
Right.
And so for someone to leave, like, you know, changed and having a different outlook, you know, is definitely a good look.
Yeah. No, I loved it. I loved it. I mean, literally, you have to go listen to it.
I keep saying I'm gonna listen to this podcast. I got it, like,
I'm
sit down and
check
listen.
that out. That sounds so dope.
Yeah, I just like that you know, like, I feel like it's important that this is the thing that we teach student athletes right here. This is the bread and butter of it right here. Be prepared. Because that's one of the things he talked about in the podcast. Because the guy was like, I see that you set your mind to something and you take risks and you just go do what you got to do. But your mind's so focused, it doesn't feel like a risk. You know what I mean? Because you just know this is the way I'm going. This is what's going to happen. And he said, that's how I've operated my whole life. And I thought that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive. And it's paid off for him. Look.
Right.
I'm just saying.
You went to Darden School of Business.
Hello.
Right.
Hello. So, yeah, I thought it was really cool. So, kudos to you, Mr. Bartles.
All right. Feel good final thought. Now, this story about Muggsy Bogues, and just to let y'all know, every week we do a production meeting. Yeah. And we decide on who. We told you our criteria for who's really right. I mean, not right before. Feel good final thought. And Lord, the last few feel good final thoughts have just really been like some real feel good stories. And we said the criteria is they either have to feel really good or they have to make your eyeballs sweat. Yeah. And this one was a really good one because now no one would ever say like he was the best player, but Muggsy Bogues as a player was a very admirable player.
Come on now.
He was only 5'4".
Come on,
baby.
Man. I wish I was a little bit taller.
Right.
Come on, man.
And
he gave us.
That's like me getting out there. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. But he came in the NBA and he really made a name for himself. Absolutely. And not just because he was a short player, but like he could really ball.
Him and Spud, they was there together.
Yeah. Right,
man.
Together, right.
Yeah.
And you see, guys like Isaiah Thomas who've come along and who've, what I'm saying, kind of carried that torch of like you ain't gotta necessarily be 6'10",
right?
or 6'12",
right?
to play this game. Like you can really, be good at this game. And so this young lady, Riley Elliot, so they had already shared a bond, Riley Elliot and Muggsy Bogues. I believe she was reaching out to him on social media, but she ended up getting cut from her basketball team because she was too short. And so that's how that bond began. But a few days ago, she shared with the world that for her birthday, this guy who she had created a bond with and who she had been kind of going back and forth with on social media actually FaceTimed her to say happy birthday.
Yeah.
And this young lady is only about 12 years old.
Yeah.
So she wasn't even around
at all.
She wasn't thought of. That's what I told you yesterday. Right? I said she was not even thought of when Muggsy played basketball.
Wasn't even a twinkle in the eye.
Right.
Nope.
But she was so emotional that one of her favorite players, Muggsy Bogues, reached out to her and said happy birthday to her. And it was just a beautiful moment to see
with
her
little
talk
country
about.
self.
Yeah.
Her little country twang. It was she said, I don't care about none of the other stuff. I'm just so excited to get to talk to you. It was so cute.
Yeah.
It was so cute. I loved it.
And so that definitely was a feel good thing. And
Absolutely.
we don't hear much about Muggsy like these days.
Yeah.
I get a little bit more because I'm in Charlotte.
Oh yeah,
of course. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
But on a national level, you don't hear much about him. But to hear his name come up and it be something like this attached to it, it just felt good,
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I was like, oh, look at the two little ones. Look at the two little ones.
Muggsy was on the Monstars.
Yeah.
Space Jam. That was a Space Jam moment. I'm sorry.
Space Jam.
You're like, wow.
And we all know how I feel about LeBron James. I'm really upset that this movie is probably going to get postponed because
I'm not.
I don't think that it is though, because I don't think because a lot of these movie Western names are actually boosting their dates up a lot earlier because of what's going on.
Really?
Yeah, like a lot. Frozen 2, I think, came out a lot earlier because of what was going on. But we'll see. Mm-hmm.
I'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm
I wasn't even a fan of the first one, so I'll be all right.
What?
So the acting in the first one was trash, but it's a classic.
Sorry.
It's a classic.
Right. What's the movie with Shaq? I can't remember the name of the horrible movie.
Shazam?
Okay, so Shazam was a classic too?
No.
I mean,
not at all.
They were kid movies.
But I feel like
tough critics.
I feel like LeBron is going to be a better actor.
Hey, so
of course you feel that.
Of course.
Feel to the real moment here.
Okay.
On the way back from LA, we went out to LA to for something with the NFL. I think that's when we taped. Desi did a Pizza Hut commercial.
Mm-hmm.
I get on the plane. We did the NFL flew us out, so it's an opportunity to be first class, all this kind of stuff. So we're traveling, and it's an African American guy gets on the plane with us. I'm like, okay, he looked like he could be, and he has on the LeBron James the hoodie. What is the one that a lot of people? God, what does it say? But it's one of his distinct hoodies.
You don't know Jarrett?
Nah, I did not.
Okay.
I want to make sure I get this. Hold on, I want to make sure I get the name right. Okay. So yeah, we sitting there. I'm talking to this guy, and I'm like, what's your name? We just having a conversation.
Yeah.
And he pulls out his iPad and he begins to work. And you on the plane, I take a little peek over and I read it. I read the top of it, and it says Space Jam 2.
Oh.
This is director Malcolm Lee sitting next to me.
Oh wow.
Making edits of Space Jam 2 while sitting next to me on a plane.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
I'm just sitting there like, yo, this dude.
Oh my God.
So the manager in me kicks in and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm on, I manage Desi Banks, a young actor comedian sitting over there, just talking and stuff like that. Just getting him familiar with the name and all that kind of stuff. But it was a wild moment for me because I'm just like, you never know who you're gonna encounter. You never know what kind of opportunity you're gonna come into. You just never know who you're sitting next to. Like,
wow. Yeah.
I remember him telling me, he was telling me his name. I think, did he tell me his name? I think he did.
He probably gave you his first name.
He gave me his name. He was
name.
like, he was like, hey, I think he was like, yeah, my name is Malcolm. And he was like, yeah, I've been in the industry for a while, He didn't say directing.
Love the humility.
Kind of
yeah.
Right. Yeah. He just was like, yeah, he was like, yeah, I was just out here. I went to go see LeBron. Oh, okay.
Oh, LeBron. Say that name. Sure.
He's on the phone. He was talking to his wife, and like I said, he pulls out his iPad. We're getting ready to take off, and like I said, he just scrolling through, and he's making edits to Space Jam 2. And I'm just like,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought that's
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to have an offline conversation.
Hey, Malcolm, can you send me a copy?
Yeah. So that was rather interesting, like to see, Bugs Bunny lines and all that. I was just like, wow.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of movies and videos,
yes,
our shows to watch.
All right, Stephanie, what you got?
All right, so I got 3 picks. On My Block, the Netflix series. It is so good. Yeah. That's one, like, it's good. I think people should watch it. Even though it's about some teenagers, like, it is good. Yeah, it is really good. I couldn't wait for this. This was the last season, but it was because I watched the first 2, binge-watched the first 2, and I watched the last one maybe about a month ago. And so it was really, like, that's one of those that I hated to see that it was ended. I was like, wait, what?
Oh, it's going off?
The way it ended makes me think that it's gone off.
Okay.
The way that it ended makes me think that. They may be bringing it back sometime. I don't know, but the way that it ended made me think that was it. My second pick is obviously The Last Dance.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan's story, yes.
Oh, Lord.
And y'all know I've gotten into, I was already into, but I've really gotten back into watching a lot of shows about cars because I love old schools.
There we go.
I love cars. I don't care. Like,
I'm with you on that one.
Yes. And so this is an old show, but one of my favorites is a classic. I started watching old episodes because I told Jarrett, if I get an old school, I'm sending my car to Utah. It right to them. I'm taking my car to Utah straight to Dave Kindig.
You mean when
I get my old school. Okay. When I get my old school.
Claim it. I can't wait to have. Right. I can't wait to have my Kevin Hart moment.
Oh yeah, give all your boys one.
Stephanie, oh my God!
I can't. Listen. Stephanie gonna be dropping that little car, and then I'm just saying, walk outside. There's somebody there for you. You know what? Somebody done drop the car for you.
Somebody. And I will be like, oh my God, thank you, Jesus.
Yep.
But it's going straight to Utah because
it's gonna be already done. You ain't gonna have to worry about that. This is gonna be drive ready.
I don't know about that because nobody does a car like Dave Kindig. Have you seen Bitches Ride?
Yeah, I can find some folks that compete with him because I'm a car person too now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know the quality of that work. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I trust you. You ever heard of it? Have to come like that.
You ever heard of it?
Come like that.
You ever heard of the name Chip Foose?
Oh yeah, I know Chip. Yeah. I love Chip Foose. I love Chip's work, but something about the eye that Dave Kindig has. It's something about it.
Okay.
It's just something about the way I don't know what it is. The colors he puts together, because he makes up all of his own colors.
Wow.
So
Makes up the paint
the
stuff.
color. Listen. I'm telling you, he just did a 42 Oldsmobile. Okay. I love Chip Foose. I love Chip Foose now, but listen. He just did that 42. He did a 42, I think it was a 42 Oldsmobile for this couple that had the car for like 30 years. Man, that they call the color candy apple blood red. Wow. That they made up for the outside. And he put this, I don't even know what to call it. It was like a pumpkin colored leather in it. Oh! It was beautiful. I'm telling you. I haven't seen one thing that they done. So anyway, Bitch and Rides is my other show. I love cars, and I ain't gonna be. Look, Cord, you ain't heard this, so I'm gonna just say it again for everybody to know. I feel like I'm a man in a woman's body because I like sports and cars like that. I like sports and cars like that. Like real talk. Those are two passions for me: sports and cars.
I know you like them. I know you like cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so it's on to me.
Yeah.
So I think I had on mine The Wire. I can watch that over and over again.
Oh man, listen. Wait, so one thing that you when was the last time you watched it?
Man, I don't watch The Wire like maybe 4 times from front to back.
So I've watched it plenty of times. The only reason why I interrupted you is because Jamel Hill and what's his name from the Red Pill podcast? From he
not Van Lathan.
Fired. Van Lathan.
Yeah.
So they just did a podcast where they are doing deep dives into The Wire. Mm-hmm. And so they just made it up to episode 3. So they're going through every single episode and speaking about, what happens in the episode.
Yeah.
Kind of talking about the themes of it. And once I saw it, I started listening. And so now I'm going back and watching the episodes each week with them.
Okay.
Okay. Y'all really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
This was my pick for last week.
Okay.
Right.
I got Turn Up Charlie, which is Idris Elba playing a Manny to a young rich, to a friend of his. In England, he's playing a Manny, but he's trying to be a DJ. It's different. It's different. Wow. But he's starting off as, like I said, a nanny, but they call him a Manny. Breaking Bad is a classic. Rhythm and Flow with Cardi B, Chance the Rapper, and T.I., which is actually pretty good. It's like a music competition where they're trying to find an artist. The artist wins $250,000 at the end.
Oh,
wow. And since we're talking about cars, there is a interesting on Netflix. I don't know the name, but I've been watching it.
Probably know it.
It's on Indy cars. On the race. Like, I never knew how much training went into driving
those cars,
an Indy car.
Yeah.
And how much money was in that. We only have maybe one U.S. Indy race.
Oh yeah, it's big international.
But internationally, like, it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Like, huge. Just to watch how they train, the money that goes into it. It's actually pretty, informative, and the level of competition between the teams and all that kind of stuff. I get that name, I get it back so you can insert it in. But it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. It's 2 seasons of it. They just actually went into the second season of it. So I've been tuned into that as well.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Jarrett.
All right. I only got 2 this week.
Oh, okay.
Now, the 2 I got, everybody hates Chris.
Listen, last week, y'all, he had the the whole cocaine thing was going on.
Yeah. We
so we gonna see. We PG this week. Thank you.
it was the crack era in Heron.
Yeah. That was it. Right.
I'm out the drugs this week.
Okay, thank you.
I'm out the drugs.
Thank you. Thank you.
But everybody hates Chris. When I tell you that is one of the funniest shows.
Oh my God, love it.
The comedic timing of it, the narration by Chris Rock himself. And if you guys used to watch Martin, Pam from Martin playing the mom is like
it's classic.
She killed. It's a classic show.
Yeah,
I think they went 4 seasons.
Yeah,
it's a great bingeable show. And the Carmichael show. That's one show I feel like got cut off too soon. I think NBC didn't believe in it, but the relevancy of every episode to the time it came out, and the conversations they have around the topics make this a really good show. From the episode where they talk about the legacy of Bill Cosby to the Me Too movement, like the conversations around these topics, while they are introduced in the comedic way, they're talked about seriously from every vantage point. And I think that makes this a great show.
Okay.
I got to check that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we'll do.
All right.
Now put the cameras on me. 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 Put the cameras on me.